So before we get even into this live stream, make sure you like it. Let's get to at least 1K, 2K likes before we get started. Um, this is what we like to see. Okay, I actually want to look at something real quick. Let's look at the fear and greed index real quick. Let's refresh it. I want to see how fearful people are. We're at 27. We're about to get back into extreme fear. We're in a market where this thing is going to rise back up to 1. Okay, this thing is about to rise. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I'm getting so excited because I know what's on the other side of this. Some of you guys remember what happened last time we were at 1, right? Where you had these April tariffs. Some of you guys remember that. And then all of a sudden, the narrative completely switched. I anticipate the narrative to completely switch. I actually think the Fed is going to come in and maybe even drop the rates. I want to look at that as well. Okay, but this is about to get back to 1. We're going to get there's going to be massive amount of people that are bearish, right? There's going to be massive amount of people that are bearish, kind of like what we saw in April tariffs. And now, now we're getting Fed. Look, man, I'll throw some money on this one. No, I'm playing. $100 in the 7 bands, I'll do it right now. I'll do it. No, I'm just kidding. But the Fed decision, I actually think something will happen that is going to be surprising right here. But we'll see. We'll see. We're down 2.3%. Put in the comments some stocks you guys want to look at. We'll look at them. My boy Chris in here, Marty. Let's run the likes up. And let's look at some individual stocks, man. If you are in the Discord, if you haven't been making money, look, man. This is I'm not gonna say it's an easy market, but it's definitely a market that is very, very like you should be doing something. You should be doing a little something, like you should be, But yeah, we're doing great. We're doing great in Wall. Okay, we're doing great. But I do want to look at some individual stocks. Okay. Put in the comments what stocks you guys want to look at. Now, what I want to pay attention to is some of these ran up stocks, right? Like MU, or STX, which if you follow Twitter, like this was just an obvious setup to where the monthly was extremely bearish. Okay, and I actually think this has a lot more room to go to the downside. If you look at the monthly, this is a reversal monthly type of candle that we posted about inside of the Twitter, where it was at 400 plus, and now it's gonna completely reverse probably this entire candle, probably back to like 200s. But yeah, that's just a longer term setup that you can look at. But I do want to look at IWM, HIMS, etc. Now for IWM, okay, pay attention, okay? These are the dips that you absolutely love to see. The reason being is because ever since the April tariff lows that you see right here, this is where we got a complete run up from 170 all the way to 270. Now, the scenario that I'm paying attention to the most is the scenario that I posted on Twitter earlier, where this can go back down to 235, right? 235, and that'll be a very, very tremendous bouncing area for it. Okay, if it does not bounce right there, then you have obviously some lower levels like 231, etc. But it should be opening around 235. We'll be able to see that. But ultimately, the main thing I'm paying attention to is the fact that this is going to end up hidden bull diverging. Okay, now what is hidden bull diverging? What is hidden bull divergence? It is what we saw back in the April tariff lows that you saw right here, right? That we saw right here on the weekly, where it was making this lower low, right? But this was actually making a lower high. You understand? So I actually want to see something like that play out again, where we do get, the same sort of thing, and it even played out, I think we're gonna end up getting something like that again. Let me see the Twitter real quick. So something like this on IWM, and this is what we posted on Friday. Yeah, on Friday before we got this extended drop. It was at 252. I think it continues to drop around 244, 245. Okay, and then you get that hidden daily divergence. You see it coming down right here, okay? So I think we do have a bit lower to go, depending on where we open it, obviously. But like if you miss the put opportunity, let me just tell you this: if you miss the put opportunity, like you didn't swing no puts, man, just relax coming in tomorrow, okay? You missed it. Just relax for a little bit, let some things recover. See how the market's going, etc. Okay, because you don't want to get sucked into anything that is too crazy. Okay, so if you're looking at IWM, these are the two levels: 245, which I think we're going to open at, And then if we got to see how we're doing right here, and then below there you get 235. But the main thing is this hidden bull divergence that I want to see play out, that I've been talking about, is where this thing ends up hidden bull diverging on the daily and actually coming down even right here. Okay, that'll put us in extreme bull territory, and that'll be the springboard to 300 plus. Okay, we're going to get a narrative that is people getting massively bearish. Okay, we'll be able to see it too, so that's why you want to tune into these live shows, because we see it every single time. Okay, we've been doing this. We've been doing this for quite some time. We get the bottoms, we get some leaps on them. We buy the equity in Max Fear, and then it's been rinsed and repeated for like 2 times now. Okay, since 2022. We had the April tariffs. That was another dip one. And I think we're going to end up getting it again. Okay? We're going to end up getting that nice dip again. So this is the main thing I'm paying attention to. And really, if you're in the Discord, like you knew this was going to end up breaking down, etc. Just based on the levels that we had prior, and the fact that this was making higher lows like we talked about in the live show. And then you got the slip and slide, right, that we talked about. So we talked about this happening. And now it looks like it's ready to get to 245, and then below 245, 235. So where does that put stocks like NBIS? And this is why it's so important to focus, so important to lock in, because there are stocks that have a lot of froth, that have like there's people that want to get into iron. There's people that want to get into iron. They're selling $6 billion of things, and NBIS. And while I think it's okay, it's not it's at a rejection level. This was the rejection level. You understand? And now it looks like it's ready to actually start heading back down to 70s, maybe even 60s. Okay, so look for these ran up stocks that that have a lot of hype to them, that have a lot of retailers in them. That this stock really yes they have predicted value, but they're not really doing $22 billion worth of value just yet. You understand? But anyways, I believe those are going to drop tremendously, and that's why we got iron puts. That's why we got iron puts on Friday. Okay, over 200%. So those are the plays I'm most interested in. Put in the comments of stocks you guys want to look at. We'll look at them. But IWM, these small caps, I think they have a lot of depending on how we open up tomorrow, right? Because you don't. After being down 2.5%, like if you're still bearish right here, you kind of miss the move. A little bit, until you can get a bounce maybe, but I don't want any of you guys to get short squeezed. You understand? I don't want any of you guys coming in tomorrow, thinking you about to come up and get squeezed. Okay, so you want to come in tomorrow being patient. That'll be the game plan. We'll be talking about it tomorrow in the Discord, etc. But yeah, man, I don't want you guys coming in and getting short squeezed, man. You want to look at Bitcoin? All right. The thesis about Bitcoin is that gold. What's happening right now? Okay, think about first of all, just zoom out to what's been happening to the markets. Okay, what's been happening? You have the Nasdaq completely chopping. Let me show you. Completely chopping for what? For how long? 7 months. Okay, completely just chopping. Really like 9 months, since September of last year. 6, 7 months, around there. Okay? Then what you have is gold going absolutely crazy. You have gold and silver. That's when gold and silver actually started mooning. That's when they started going crazy, when the Qs was chopping. How convenient. Okay? How convenient. When the Nasdaq and the market started chopping, you have literally, this is September 2nd. That's when the Nasdaq started chopping, September 2nd. And all of a sudden you have this massive run going on for gold, where it went from 308 all the way to 508, $200 move, okay? Now what you have is oil going absolutely crazy, okay? Follow me. You have oil going absolutely crazy now, okay? Now you have oil going crazy. So Trump is paying everybody. He's paying the people in gold. He's paying the people in oil. He already paid the people in NASDAQ. What's going to end up coming after this is, I believe crypto is going to be getting absolutely paid. Okay, that's what's been happening. Crypto and higher risk assets are going to be getting paid. Now, does that come with the Fed, with some of the stuff that's going to transpire with the Fed? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the news is going to be. All I know is you definitely don't want to be supremely bearish on Bitcoin. Maybe it comes back down. Maybe it comes down to 50K, etc. But this is where I believe money's going to end up rotating into heavily when we do get the narrative switch, which is bound to happen. Okay, so I don't want to look at it too much right now. It's kind of just in a consolidation area, but I believe there's a narrative switch that is going to end up happening. Okay, and that is what's been playing out for literally all sectors now. Okay, the only sector that hasn't had it is crypto. I think the crypto sector will have it, and we'll be paying attention to it. We'll be paying attention to it. Korean down 6%, crude oil 109. Yeah, crude is going crazy. Crude is going crazy. But I don't want to hold you guys up for too long tonight, just because we are getting a massive gap down. Like we're getting a tremendous, like a huge gap down to where any of the stocks we look at, it'll kind of be not pointless, but we kind of got to see how we open up tomorrow. We kind of got to see some bounce areas, etc. So that's the main thing. That's the main thing. Like I don't want to come in here, like we're gapping down 3%. Okay, we're almost down 3%. If you didn't swing puts, so. But we can look at a couple individual things, man. So happy got good puts on Friday. Shout out to you, man. You're gonna be up a nice amount. Okay. Gold puts. I think gold is ready to go down. Gold is probably one of my favorites that I'm looking at because money's gonna end up rotating out of here. Okay. Money. This is victim area. Okay. You're in late bull victim area for gold. Okay. This is where people are selling out. Okay, let me actually show you something really quick. You tell me what this looks like. Okay, stay right here. Stay right here. Let me actually show you something really quick. Let me show you something really quick. Let me show you something, man. I mean, what does this look like to you? Kaboom, right? Kaboom. I mean, what does it look like? What does it look like to you, right? So I believe gold is gonna go through that. I mean, same thing with like MU. A lot of these charts are kind of showing that, right? MU is another one where people are buying the victim area. Now MU's set out to maybe even correct back to 220s. Okay, so a lot of these stocks look like this. Okay, they look like that. Okay, so you don't want to be you don't want to be super bullish. But if you didn't swing puts heading into tomorrow, you definitely want to be cautious. You don't want to just hop into puts as soon as the market opens. That's just irresponsible. At least wait for it to come up a little bit, right? That'd be the smartest thing to do. But you gotta remember coming into tomorrow. The only thing that matters is that nothing has really changed. Okay, so until Trump says the Iran war is done, that's gonna be the main thing. So I'm really looking at stuff like BA. I think BA is going to do absolutely incredible. You have that large bounce on BA. So any dip that we see on BA, I think the BA narrative is going to end up playing out. And by narrative is what we talked about like weeks ago, or when this was like in the trenches, when this was way over here at 150s. I believe the BA narrative is about to play out heavily, and by that I mean this is ready to go to 400 or 500 plus. Okay. Now, why do I think that? Is because you look at what happened when Trump was in office in 2017, January, right? This is when he entered into office around here. And then what we saw with BA is this, okay? And Trump came into office, January 2025, around here. And now what we're seeing is a complete reversal, and this actually ready to go crazy. And you have all the defensive type of narrative going on right now, where you have oil, you have war, that type of narrative going on. So the BA I think is going to be a very good one. Now, I really wanted to get on Friday. Hopefully, we get a nice little dip heading into tomorrow. But BA is a very good one, very good one. Hopefully, it gets like a retest right here or something. Okay, but buy the dip. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. What about silver? I think silver and gold are all bearish. Swung one day. I think we have a few red weeks on stock. Yeah, I wouldn't be extremely bullish. Okay, I wouldn't be extremely bullish. I'd be looking at where the money's rotating into, and I'll be taking them there. But BA is one of my favorites heading into this week. Okay, it looks like it's ready to go back to high of year 260s, and really start breaking out of this bull flag that has been forming. Okay, very good. Boeing has back orders. Look, man. Look, dog. Look, dog. Look, dog. ONDS. Look, dog, BA about to go. I don't really like looking at stuff like ONDS. This thing has been in a nasty, nasty chop. But I will say these are not wick type of candles that I would be super bullish on. Okay, every single time it comes up here, it wicks down, and these are the type of stocks that I mean by overhyped small caps. Like this is a 4 billion, and people think drone surging demand, yada yada yada. But you really need this back above really 1245. Okay, and this isn't a setup that even looks bullish. It actually looks very bearish. And it looks like it could come down. Maybe let's see. Maybe I wouldn't buy anything. Maybe back down to $8.90. Okay, but you got to remember, back in 2025, this was $1. Okay, now I'm not saying everything's super bearish, but these are the stocks in the until everything gets sorted out, until you see something. And I think high risk assets, I think smaller caps are going to get a tremendous boost just from the fact that you do have. The Fed is going to have to do something. Okay, you had those nasty job numbers, right? You had those nasty job numbers. They now know a recession is coming. Okay, it's clear as day. It's clear as day that there is a recession coming, and I think they're going to try to do things to make it seem like it's not so, or try to fix it right now. But the train is already taking off. Like it's already going to happen. Okay. HIMS looks good. RKLB is another one that I'd be looking at for shorts. This thing has been stuck in this nasty consolidation. I think we're gonna end up getting a breakdown, maybe to $40 ish. Very, very good one to short. Don't like it. Yeah. As of early 2026, BA maintains massive back orders on 6,000 aircrafts valued at $600 billion. Is that bullish or bearish? Back orders got to be bullish, right? People are waiting for it, right? All I know is that chart looks amazing, and the narrative surrounding BA is incredible. That's what I think. All right? That's what I think. But like I said, man, I don't want to hold you guys up for too long tonight. I really don't, okay? Especially when we're coming into tomorrow. There's going to be massive volatility. There's going to be massive people in shorts. There's gonna be massive people. Their fear is back. Man, this market is about to be absolutely incredible, and it's gonna be. And the thing is, we're finally breaking below. Okay, it looks like we're finally out of this consolidation that's been for 7 months now. Okay, we're gonna break below, and finally get some real volatility to where we're either going up or down. Okay, we're either going up or down. All right, so pay attention, study, focus. This is where, man, you could turn a lot into a little bit. Okay? A lot into a little bit. Now, what do you mean? What do you mean a lot into a little bit? Look, man, you got to focus on, if you look at the stocks, if you look at stocks that are completely ran up, like last week on Friday, like we got into iron, right? And over 200% in not that long. But if I was looking at something like Light, which was down $100 for the day, where this thing went up a little bit to 640, right? And you should have came in a Friday being massively bearish because of what was happening inside. Like those job numbers are horrific. Okay? This thing went to 640 and it went all the way back down to 550. This could look, man. You could have made a whole bunch. Okay? Whole bunch. And I don't think it's done. Okay? These are the stocks that I'm paying attention to, man. Because what? This stock was $50. It was $50 last year. Oh man, don't man. Come on, no. Crowd calls for me this week. Yeah, I mean, I want to see some stuff. But I hope you guys enjoyed the live show, man. I'll be live again on Wednesday. We'll be able to see more things. Like we'll be able to see the Monday price action, Tuesday price action, and Wednesday price action. We'll be better equipped to look at some more stocks and see where we're going, etc. But like I said, there's some levels to be paying attention to, especially for IWM, that 245 level and that 235 level. We're getting some massive daily divergence that I believe is going to end up playing out. So whenever this taps this bottom right here, kind of like what we saw, this entire run, this is where a potential good spot to be buying is at. Okay, but we're gonna be paying attention. Okay, there's a lot of money to be made. If you're not in Discord, everything is linked in the bottom. My boy Canadian in here, and let's have some fun, man. Let's have some fun. Don't for a second think this market is done. Let's have some fun. Don't for a second think this market is done. Don't for a second think we've topped out. Now, of course, we're getting a little detour. Okay, we're getting a little fun detour, and this is gonna end up being a springboard in order to send the Qs to 680 plus. It's gonna be a fun ride. Some of you guys remember back in April of last year. Okay, April of last year, and went from 540 all the way to 405 in almost like the same, like February through April, really. Okay, I think we're gonna end up getting the same sort of deal. Okay, same sort of deal. Maybe the four, maybe the 510. I don't know. I'm paying attention. Did you do hymns? No, I didn't do hymns. But what you have to know about hymns is that the Invo. Oh, they're basically back to square one, right? They don't. They're back to why it was so bullish when it was $70. So because of that reason, I'm bullish on it. Coming into this week, I'm going to be looking for maybe a nice bounce on it. But I know a lot of people are going to be looking for a nice bounce on it. So we'll see. I think it can get a squeeze, but there's no TA that I can really look at. This thing has been absolutely manipulated, and we were very bearish on this. Back when manipulation candles, this thing's going down. Okay, and we said that. We said hymns is garbage, but now I think it's time to change that narrative because of the thesis changed. So yeah, I'm paying attention. But I'll talk to you guys later, man. Have a blessed night. I'm out. Peace.